If your dreads have a blunt cutoff point but you'd like to add wispies to the ends, this tutorial will show you how. You will need braiding hair, scissors, a micro needle, and a fine-tooth comb. We are using the KK fiber from Dreadlocks for this style, and we're going to simply take it and we're going to cut it in half. And from here, you want to determine how much length and how much wispiness you really want to add to your ends. So I'm going to cut a bit of this off because I don't want quite so much length. And then we're going to do a process called shuffling, and what that's going to do is it's going to offset your ends, and it's going to stop you from having to razor at the end, because the razoring is going to kind of be a carve in from the outside in, and we want it to actually be a more unified taper. We're going to take this hair and we're just going to split it in half, offset it, and repeat this process with slight movements back and forth, and you'll start to see the ends gradually taper out. Doing the shuffling process will actually add a couple inches, so make sure that when you're doing your initial cut that you cut a little bit shorter than you think that you want your final ends to be. So now that our fiber is shuffled and has nice tapered ends, we're ready to begin our process. So I'm going to separate just a small amount away from my bundle, and then I'm going to take my blunted dreadlock and I'm going to go up inside it, grab one end of my fiber and pull it down through. So it should look something like that. Now I'm going to go back up into it again from a different spot. I'm going to grab the remainder of that fiber and pull it down. And it's okay, you can have a bit of a floss movement right now. That's okay, we're going to get rid of that in a minute. The other thing that this does require is that you are actually getting your fiber around some kind of knot. That way when it pulls, you're not pulling it straight out the end of the dread. That means that your back combing that you are fishing into needs to be secure. So we're going to repeat this process a few more times, pulling the ends out through the end of your blunted dread. Obviously, if you want this to look as natural as possible, you're going to want to use a color that is the same as the dreadlock that you're adding to. That makes sense, right? Natural color, natural extensions to make sure that it's a seamless flow. Okay, you're starting to see this fill out. I'm just going to add one more piece and then I will show you how to get that transition effect. If you have any that jump ship, just go back in and grab them. If your natural hair starts to fan out like that and your dread isn't completely fully formed at your end, that's okay too. You can still use this process. What you're going to do, if that's the case, is you're going to go back into your dread from the top down, pick up one of the pieces of hair, just a little bit from one of the strands is fine. And you're actually going to pull that back up and out the top. Then what you're going to do is use that hair to wrap around and go back inside the dread. That's going to help secure that hair and cinch it together. We're going to do that a few more times using that same piece of hair, just kind of winding it around and pulling it in kind of randomly. Now that we have made a more smooth transition, we are going to begin our back combing. To help give our dread a little bit of security, we're just going to back comb beginnings of this fiber. We're not going to take the back combing all the way down to the ends because the idea is that we're trying to leave these wispy. So we're just going to back comb it so it secures all this fiber into place. With that there, we're just going to palm roll it slightly. And now we're ready to dip this in hot water and make it nice and sleek. Once you have all of your ends done, it's time to straighten them out. So we're just going to put them into freshly boiled water. It's really important that your water is super duper duper hot for this process. And then we are going to pull them straight. Make sure that you are wearing gloves for this because the water is very, very, very hot. If you need the help, you can use a comb to help get these straighter, but these are straightening out pretty well on their own. This is really, really hot though. So if you have heavier duty gloves, I would definitely recommend that instead, but this is all we have here at Chez Salon, so we are just using these puny little gloves. But that is all there is to it. We're just gonna dry this out and then take a look at those ends. So this completes our blunted ends into wispies.